What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Line of the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we're back today with another episode of the DeAgostini Millennium Falcon from Fanhome. What's funny is I've gotten really used to saying that. I used to really stumble over that, and of course, as soon as I call it out, I forget where I was going with it because, of course. And today, we're back today with, oh yeah, I totally just derailed myself from my usual thing because, of course, I had to do it. But today we're back to do stages 75 and 76 and continuing work on the mandibles. Uh, and like last episode, we completed like a whole portion of it. As we're getting towards the end of this build, there's no waiting, there's no nothing. It's we're gonna get this done, and we're gonna be moving forward and getting all these components put together because we not have one but two mandibles to build and a lot of little individual details to take care of along the way. So, a couple things to note real quick. I've been looking ahead and taking a look at the build and taking what I know of the perfect grade Millennium Falcon from Bandai, as I'm basically finishing up with the build right now as of 1 year, almost exactly to the day of receiving the model. And starting the model, basically, we started on the 19th, I believe is what it was, of March last year on the perfect grade. And so after a year of building it, I've been kind of reviewing and looking ahead to see what we're going to do on this model. And some of the things that I regret doing are putting some of our tubes and pipes and stuff like that on the build until after the painting process. Like, we're going to paint these with the model, but putting them on afterwards so that we can get the proper panels put down with all the greebles put over the top, and basically just want to clarify what we're going to be doing. So stuff like this, anything that's going to be taken care of, like with greebles, we're going to take care of after the build is technically complete, once we're going to be moving on into the actual full painting phase, which is going to be about this summer, which is going to kind of work out perfectly timing wise for this build, as you know, I want favorable conditions for painting, which is going to be in the 60 to 70 degree range, which we get towards the end of spring, early summer around here in the Pacific Northwest. So, what we're going to handle and how we're going to handle this. So, any pipes or anything like that that are going to be sitting across the top of panels that might be getting different color treatments and what have you, we're not going to be putting on. But any greebles like these and surface details we will be putting on. So going forward, we're going to be skipping any pipes, but continuing to put on any greebles. So let's go ahead, and now that we're done talking about what we're going to be doing for the going forward for the rest of this build, let's go ahead and move on to stage 75 and basically skip over a good portion of it. All right, so here's stage 75. Let's go ahead and take a look at the magazine. We'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. There we go. And Grievous's invisible hand, his flagship. And talking a little bit about General Grievous. And of course, if you want to read the magazines, just go ahead and pause on any one of the screens here. Talking a little bit about ship classifications and kind of how Star Wars handles that. Trying to technify the Star Wars a little bit, which is kind of funny. And our parts, and then the instructions. We're going to be doing a little bit of greebly work today and getting our recessed maintenance pits taken care of. All right, so let's go ahead and grab our parts and get them out of the package. All right, make sure we're all good to go there. And we have our sprue. All the details. We're not going to be using a lot of this today. We have our frame to two frame pieces to match up with the one frame piece from last time, and the differing plastics makes me laugh. We have our recessed section here to mate up with the one that we got in our last stage. And we have a few more of our two-hole connectors. So let's go ahead and get our two-hole connectors open. I also have my black screws and my silver screws ready to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up to our instructions. I'll go ahead and stay zoomed in here. And what we're going to do to start is create our frame. So let's go ahead and get our frame sections out of the package. There we go. And what's cool about these frame pieces is these two, I think just this one is designated as top. But these two can be interchanged. Yep. Either with top frame 42 or bottom frame 46, as you can see there. And this one could be top frame 43, so as it focuses, or bottom frame 47. And that was the same thing for the other side. I imagine that it's going to be the same thing for the port side mandibles as well. So if I'm not mistaken, we're going to go ahead and set our posts up. Yep, set it up just like this. And then this is going to go right here. And then that is going to go right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a 2-hole connector right in between here. And after kind of watching and like reviewing what I did the last time, I'm going to skip ahead because this is basically the same thing that we did on the other side. So I'm just going to go ahead and infer and do things a little bit more efficient like. So say, there we go. Get another screw ready to go. Grab another one of our 2-hole connectors. Bring that closer. It is nice being familiar with the build and kind of common trends that you see. We'll go through and tighten these up. There we go. And then we're going to do the same thing right here. Excuse me. Been doing some recording today. Voice tends to go a little bit at the end of a recording session, which is going to be the last thing I record today. But I was saying it's kind of nice to be able to kind of develop a skill and kind of get quick with building it, especially if you've been building all day, sort of thing, which is what I've been doing today. I have a good deal of parts for this model, and it's kind of cool, like building the mandible. So, just gotta say. Every time I say it, I do want to say do 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 do. Little inside joke from our HTM modeling group. Do recommend you check out our streams on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Bunch of amazing modelers, much better than me, building together online. All right. There we go. Excellent. So let's go ahead and just make sure we're all good to go on that front. Yep. That is built. We're all solid and good to go. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside until the next stage. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to grab our recesses here. And so we have the one that we received in stage 4, what was it, 74? And then here's the one that we got in this stage 76, or 75, excuse me. All right. So we're going to grab detail number 1, and that is going to be, looking at the sprue, it's going to be this one right here. So I will show you how I clean up my parts, and then every time I need to remove something from a sprue, this is how I'm going to be taking care of it. I just like to use my single-bladed nippers. And I have a racer glass file. You can use any sort of file. I just like to use the glass file. And I'm going to take down my gates, if there are any left. That's why I like to use the single-bladed nippers. And then take a look to see if there's any flash. And in this case, there's a little bit that needs to be sanded off. There we go. Okay. That is going to go into the piece for 74. So it looks like the first one we're going to be working on. And they have the part arranged like this. And with this flange right here, kind of going down, it is going to fit into place right here, with it kind of going around that side. So let's grab our CA. Go into the spot. There we go. And using my tweezers, get that plugged into place. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of CA, put it at the end down here, and get that plugged into place right there. Excellent. So that's what that looks like. Now we're going to grab part number 2, which is going to be the one right next to it, which is even smaller. And it's all cleaned up, and like I said, this is a very small piece. That is going to get secured into place right here with it facing this way. So with this little hook facing this way. So to do that, what I'm going to do, grab it in my tweezers, and with my non-dominant hand, carefully get some CA into place. And get it put there. Excellent. Okay, so now set that aside, and we're going to grab parts 3 and 4, which are going to be this little grill piece right here. And how much of that do we keep? Okay. So, and on this grill piece, there's going to be a tab that sticks out, and then the gate. Don't cut the tab, we're just going to cut the gate. There we go. And then part number 4 is going to be the one right up here in this corner. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put some glue into that hole right there. And put it right inside. There we go. And didn't clean up this piece. So I know, very simple cleanup here at the top. I was like, wait, hold on. That doesn't look right. There we go. Then you have the 2 tabs that are sticking up like this. We're going to assemble it on the opposite side, just like so. So it looks like that. Let's go ahead and straighten that out a little bit. Excellent. Now we're going to grab the second piece, the one we got in this issue, and we're going to go ahead and slot that in place with these 2 tabs going into this slot right here. Got some glue and the mounting points. Then on the actual part, get a little glob of glue down in the middle there. Then using my tweezers, and carefully put that down into place. I say, there we go. And there we go. Excellent. Sorry if that was out of focus there. I apologize. All right, we're going to grab part number 5, which is going to be this one right here. And what we're going to do is like the same thing on the other side. A little bit of glue into both those slots. And a little glob here in the middle. And using my tweezers. There we go. And that's what that looks like. That looks pretty cool. Now we're going to grab part number 6, which is going to be this one right here. And then that is going to slot into that lug right there in that corner. A little glue. And like the other pieces, I'm going to glue on both sides, just to ensure that everything locks into place. Then using my tweezers, no, There we go. And just like that. Excellent. Perfect. And you want to note that this piece here has a bit of an angle to it, and so it'll fit along the curvature there if you're putting it in correct. Okay? All right. So with that said, these two pieces all assembled and our frame section complete. That completes stage number 75. Let's move on to stage 76 and get some paneling put on this bad boy, shall we? All right, so here's stage 76. Let's go ahead and take a look at the magazine. We'll go ahead and zoom back in a little bit here. Well, I'll get a bit of a game for myself to see if I can get it right. Duchess Satine's coronet. Duchess Satine, Kreese, is the sister of Bo-Katan, who you may have seen in the more recent seasons of The Mandalorian, if you've been watching, or in the Clone Wars, if you guys are familiar. Someone very close to Obi-Wan, who Darth Maul winds up killing. Spoiler alert, sorry. And there she is, Duchess Satine. Once again, if you wanted to take a look at wanted to read the articles, go ahead and pause on each screen. Talking about classification part 3, they kind of go in series because there are 100 magazines, so they have a lot to talk about a little bit. These are cool though. The blockade runners, these sort of style of ships are really cool. The Hammerhead is by far one of my favorite starship designs. And talking a little bit more about the Galactic Civil War era, some of the cruisers from that era. Then our next parts are going to be putting the hull panels on and getting a few more of our add-on details taken care of into the recesses. So let's go ahead and move on to our assembly. Excuse me. And to do so, let's go ahead and open our parts, which have already been partially opened for me. This package had a couple. There's some really sharp parts. I'm not surprised, actually. So let's go ahead and get our parts out. Make sure everything is all good to go. Excellent. They've given us a supply of more brass short screws. We have 2 more recesses. That's going to be for this particular mandible. Some more of our silver hull panel screws, which we'll go ahead and get out. Excellent. We have our sprue. And, ooh, some new screws. How interesting. So these are fixing screws. How interesting. Oh, these screws are going to be what we use to connect the side portions of the mandible to the metal armature that sits along the side. Very cool. So we're not going to be using these stage. We're going to be setting these off to the side. Very, very cool. We do have our 2 hull panel sections. And then once again, here's our sprue with our details. All right. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and get our hull panels assembled onto the frame. So we're going to start here in the back. Or no, we're going to start in the front, actually. Okay. Yep, same thing we did on the other side. Let's go ahead and match these up. There we go. And then, as soon as I match it up, we're going to go ahead and use, that's what, 4? There we go. Well, I grabbed more than I needed because we're going to be doing this again in a second. There we go. All right. Very good. Then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing over here. We're going to go ahead and flip this over. Match up our hull panels together. Just like so. Flip this back over. And just remember to note, we're not going to be connecting these. What is it? Maybe. Are we? I see. We're not going to be putting a screw here or a screw here. Okay. Excellent. I just wanted to make sure. Last time I put a couple screws in place where I didn't need to. All right, so we'll start right up here at the connection point where they overlap. Make sure it cinches down. Remember to not over torque these screws. And also as well, you don't need to use 3-in-1 oil, as this model is pre-threaded or uses self-tapping screws, which is what I believe these silver ones and the black ones are, if I'm not mistaken. All right, our last screw is going into place. What? Oh, what? Maybe, nope. This one here, we're going to put a screw in there. I was like, wait, I think we're missing one. I was counting up. Oh. All right. Well, here we go. Top half of the mandible is completed. Excellent. Let's go ahead and set that off to the side. Now, we're going to go ahead and grab the sprue. Grab our 2 maintenance pits here. And we're going to go ahead and remove part number 1, which is going to be this one right here. And then we are going to put this piece in this well, and we're going to put it up again in this tab with the flat part here facing towards the back. So to pull that off, I'm going to glue on this side. Get it on our mounting lug around the outside where it's going to be touching and connecting. Then I'm going to get it all along the flat parts here. There we go. And using my tweezers again. Get that plugged in. And there it is. Excellent. Now we're going to grab part number 2. It's going to be this one right here. And if we notice, the detail is on the inside of the sprue versus the outside. And then on the other sprue, or on the other sprue, the other recess, right up above this post right here, that is going to fit in along the top, just like that. So to pull that off, simply going to grab my glue and get a smear of it going along the back wall. Then, without sticking myself to the model, get that put in place. There we go. Excellent. Then we're going to grab the other detail just like that one. So this can be part number 3. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Oh. Nope. There we go. And this one has a detail, a raised detail on the top there. You want that to be facing up towards the top. Excellent. Now, really hard to pick up. The camera does pick it up there. So right in this corner, right there, you can see a key-shaped hole, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to grab the last remaining part on the sprue. And as you can see here, there's that key-shaped connection. What I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a little bit of my glue. Get it into the keyhole down there. And making sure I get enough because I don't want to try to do this a couple times. Get my glue in there. And using my tweezers. Go ahead and plug that in place. And get it straightened out. There you go. Excellent. That looks good. Perfect. And is that stage 76? Wow. Okay, well, I was expecting a little bit more to do there, but that is stage 76. Wow. So we are all complete. It is always nice to toss out a sprue. Let's go ahead and go wide so we can take a look at the 4 maintenance pits that we got here. There they are. And we went ahead and got this entire section all completed. We're ready to start putting the center portion of the mandible together and getting it dressed along the outside. So that's what we're going to do next time as we move on to the next portion of the mandible, whatever stages that might encompass. So that's what I got for you guys today, and I just want to say thank you. I know that there was a million things y'all could have done today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me watching me build a model, and I think that's pretty damn cool. You guys have any questions or comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. Like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world wherever you happen to be. And just remember that the Force will be with you always.